Hello and welcome back to Nat Scraps. Today we are getting our hands inky with a sketch from Christy's Beautiful Life. And if you've seen around the channel a few months ago, I did a 30 days of sketches with Christy's Beautiful Life. In the month of February, she threw up a bonus sketch, and the moment I seen it, I thought of using this beautiful paper pap called It's the Little Things. It's a 6x6 paper pack with tons of fun, fantastic papers in it. Some black and white, some colors. It is just a adorable collection. In my head, I had rainbows and colors going on, and I'm thinking I want just a graduation of colors across the top. So I've gone with the red, orange, yellow, green, blue of a rainbow. And then I want it to kind of graduate down to lighter, like just a bit of color at the bottom. I started off not knowing how I'm going to figure out how to do this. I started off not knowing how I was going to do this, but figured it out is probably what I am trying to say. So here I am. I just started kind of ripping into those papers and cutting them up and trying to get that graduation. So my first two rows was not too hard. So I had the solid, just the pieces of patterned paper, and then I had those beautiful splatters that have got little bits. Now I cut two sections. Each of these little blocks is 2 by 2 inches, and I cut two lots of those, and between the two of them I could kind of get a little bit of a graduation between the red to the blue of the splatter. Now I've got this other piece where we have the stripes, and I'm going, how am I going to get 2 by 2 inches of each one of those colors, and think I'm just going to tear it up and add it to little bits of paper. So I'm kind of like winging this, hoping that is going to work. Then I've got the last piece. Oh, here you can see I'm going to cut the white cardstock just down to the 2 by 2 and sort of sit those on top and hope that they'll work. I realise I want the splatter sort of down below, so I want the more solid one up the top. And some of those have a little bit of graduation of colour, so there's a little bit of yellow into the green and a little bit of orange into the red. So that kind of works well. Next one I've got is this stripe. Now, puzzle me this, it was a big puzzle. I was looking, going, how am I going to do this? And then I figure I'll cut these strips. So there's sort of like two shades of blue. There's an orange and yellow and a green there. I'm thinking maybe I can sit them together and fit some of the other patterned paper in between. And I kind of just start cutting and trying to figure this out. It does come together in the end. It did take a little while, and I'm sure there's a much easier way to do this than to just about make my own paper. I probably could have, like, I don't know, there must have been an easy way, but at this particular time it hadn't occurred to me. So you can see there I'm sort of building up that red one. I do cut a lot of this footage out because I do spend a lot of time piecing together tiny pieces of paper onto another tiny piece of paper to make each one of these blocks. But in the end, I'm happy with the results. The one thing I guess I'm saddest about at the end of this layer is you don't get to see a lot of those beautiful blocks that I made because they're all covered in decoration on top. I know they're there though. Fast forward a little bit and you can see those blocks there completed. I'm also going to get around to sticking down the strips that I tore there, and we will end up with a full row. Now, if you had a good look at that sketch at the start, it actually only needs 4 rows of 4. So I had a brain fart and didn't even notice that. I just went rainbow. What's the colors of the rainbow? Don't have purple. Let's go red, orange, yellow, green, blue. And I did not account for the fact that there's only 4. It just completely skipped me. So I run into a bit of trouble here where I start to try to figure out how to fit these onto the page, and it doesn't overly work. You can see here I cut a couple of photo mats. These at this stage are 4 inches by 4 inches. That does change a couple of times, but at the moment we've got a 4x4, two 4x4 photos on there. I'm also going to start putting this together on my base, but decide that I probably need to trim down my base and put a mat behind that. It would have been smart if I decided that before I cut my photo mats and wasted a full piece of paper, but I don't know. I think life has just been crazy, and I think my head's just not screwed on well at the moment because I just didn't think through a lot of these decisions. And it came to putting them together and going, why did you just do that? Like, really? So I'm going to now pop that on and then start building this page. Now it does take a little while, this page, to come together, and there's bits and pieces that I have cut out just for your viewing ease, because when I came to putting these little bits of squares on, I put them on 4x4, and then I tried 5x5, and then went back to 4x4, and then went back to 5x5, trying to figure out how I was going to do it. I couldn't figure out whether I was going to leave one of these colors out, and every time I kind of did it, I would realize I'm going to have a big gap somewhere somehow. So I do try a couple of different things. Now the sketch does have a big open space at the bottom, and I was really drawn to that, but then when it came to putting it together, it did kind of throw me a bit when I was putting the title and things down there. And you see I changed my mind on the title a couple of times as well. Here's the 4x4 kind of mode, and I kind of look at that and think it's too spacey. I do go back to adding them on 5x4, sorry, and you'll see here I'm just adding a little bit of black around each of the colors. This helped me to define that there was a little bit of a space between each one of those blocks, because I did end up putting them so close together they were blending together on the page. Here I cut those 4x4, I actually gutted them and left an edge on it, and cut out 3x3 or 3¼ by 3¼ photo mats from the center of the 4x4 by 4¼ photo mats. Well, that's a lot of photo mats and quarters in there. And I'm glad I did, because I did revert back to using one of the 4x4 ones a little bit later on, and that kind of ended up working well. I didn't waste that paper, thankfully. Here I'm pulling out some of the cardboard die cuts. These are so nice and thick and detailed and beautiful. They are very, very detailed, but with the thickness of the cardstock they used on those, they do not feel flimsy at all, and they go on the page beautifully. I'm just in love with the die cuts. You can see I'm building up the embellishments there and adding bits and pieces, but this title down the bottom is really throwing me, and I'd love to hear your feedback. Let me know if you liked that one, or we ended up in the right direction. It was one of those things where I just felt like there was too much space and it wasn't quite working. You can see here, this is where I'm going back to a 4x4 photo and a 3x3 photo rather than the two 3x3s. And again, I'm trying to fit that shine bright down the bottom in that gap, and I'm trying to get a triangle to work, but I just couldn't seem to get things to look balanced. So I changed out that title and I used this smile, which is all little banners. At the moment, it's not actually standing off the page, so I grab a little bit of black cardstock and I layer that title up on there and cut them out with just a little small border. This really helps make that pop, and it does make it work a lot better. I'm feeling this title much more than the other one, so I'm going to stick with this one and keep going. I love those die cuts. I wish I had a few more of the flowers of them though. You can see here I've cut one of the die cuts in half so that I can use it in 2 spots and stick them on the photo. It is a good way to stretch some of those embellishments when you don't have as many as you would like, and you want them sort of coming out of those photo mats anyway, so it does work really well. I keep adding the flowers. I'm trying to get that triangle, and what I really want is for that smile title to kind of work into that bottom embellishment cluster. I don't think I really pulled this off. I don't think it's perfect, but it will do. I really did struggle along the way here, and you know when you get to the end of a layout and you're not exactly happy with it. Here I'm popping just a little bit of splatter. I started off with one sort of like ink stain one, but it wasn't going to work very well. So I ended up with this tiny little, this is actually meant for inside the little flowers in a stamp set, and it's just 3 tiny dots, but it's lovely little just tiny dots that you can splatter around your page, and I use it frequently just to add a little bit of detail around pages. When I've gone through my stickers from the It's a Little Things collection, I'm looking for things that are going to match into those colours. So the stickers are beautiful and bright and gorgeous and match the collection really well. So I'm looking for red stickers that will go in the red area, orange, green, blue, yellow, and I'm trying to place them, you'll see they're sort of in those colour lines to emphasise that colour across the page. I'm also pulling out some acrylic dots and bits and pieces later that will continue on that, adding things. I'm looking at things that may go like green and blue next to each other that will just sort of slide in between the 2 colours, and working my way through those things. The little sticker that I just popped on there is heart this, and that kind of fades into the background, but I will in a moment matte that up a little bit, and that will stand out just a little bit more. These tiny little banners, I've pulled them out several times. I had them around the original title at one stage, but I do end up using them just poking out of the bottom of these photo mats and just as another little layer and a area just to cluster some of those embellishments on. This cute little tag comes out as well. And that's what I love about this little collection. There's so many little details in there that you can use to pop on your page and add little tiny details. And I will not lie, I have stocked up on these sticker sheets. You can buy just the stickers on their own, and there's one for the mini album. I might lie, actually I don't know, there's one, yes there is, there's one for the mini album, one for the card making kit, and one for the scrapbooking. And I love all 3, and I've stocked up on them while they're still in stock, so that I can use them on future layouts, because they do have such nice colors in them, and there's such a variety of things that you get in them. The little green sticker I put on there is the Good Life. I pull out one in a moment and it says Happy Days. I'm just moving that tag to the front rather than in behind. And there's a blue one there as well that I pop on in a moment that says Life is Beautiful. And you can see there that rainbow just starting to form, and all those tiny little details really add. I do love the details on this page. I probably, if I go back and do this one again, I would probably make the blocks a little bit larger and have them go to the bottom of the page as well. So I probably do 3 by 3 inches and leave out the yellow or the orange. But that's if I redid and try it again. I'm adding some acrylic here too, and again that's just from my stash. So bits and pieces I have left over, or have in my collection. I'm adding just a smidge of pink too up there. You've seen that pink flower I added behind there, because in my stripes I have red and pink, and in that splatter it's hard to pick up on the video, but there is a little bit of pink in there as well. So I do add just a splatter of pink onto that red. Here I'm looking for something to go up near that yellow folio tab at the top there. I don't find that it's sticking out. It's kind of all blending in, and there's nothing kind of really pulling that into the layout. And I trying a few different stickers from the sticker sheets. In the end, I just grab a little bit of white cardstock that's just laying around on the bench, and I cut it into a tab, cut the corners, and punch a hole in the top, put a bit of a black inking around the outside edge and whack it up there, and that just makes that yellow tab that was kind of blending away and that embellishment cluster that was sort of going nowhere come to life a little bit up there in the corner. I'm also going to take that Love This sticker and I'm going to map that onto a little bit of candy apple cardstock, and that's going to make that pop there as well. Oh, I was a little bit ahead of myself there, so we're just doing that one now. There was lots of dimension in this, and if you stick around to see the still photos right at the end, you'll see that there's lots and lots of dimension. I like also the different textures. So we have the cardstock, we have the acrylic, we have the paper die cuts, and so there's a lot of depth and a lot of different texture going on throughout the layout. I went looking for some black twine, and you'd think in a cottage or a studio of the size that I have to work in that would be an easy feat. I don't seem to have any black twine left. I've got to add it to the shopping list. So I had to make do, and what that piece of black there is just a little slither off the edge of the die cut sheet, and I've glued that down and made that to look like a piece of twine. So you can make do if you really want something, and you can always find a way around. I've added a little bit of dimension to the back of that title, and we're going to stick that down, or mount that up, I probably should say, rather than stick that down. And these little bows are again from that die cut set, so we're going to glue that in place as well. We're nearly at the end, guys. We've got one last thing, and that's to add a load of acrylic dots. I probably went a little overboard. There's so many on here, but I went through and I found all my kind of the red ones, the blue ones, the green ones, the yellow ones, and I love how we have ours in collections with 3 different colors on there. It really helps when it comes to this and being able to add lots of different shades onto the layout. So you can see me just go through and in those sections just splatter them around and make them just extra little details on the page. I probably went slightly overboard because I used lots. I do go in also with some black and add some black acrylic dots around as well. Probably not needed, but well, I have all of the acrylic dots out. Why the hell not? Okay, here we go, and that will be the last. So guys, I do have the still shots at the end with some close-ups of a couple of little areas, but I'll just take this chance right here before we do the slowdown and that to thank you guys for watching and tuning in. Please feel free to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, leave a comment, let me know what you think, let me know if this works or doesn't work, or whether you think I should have kept the other title on, anything like that. I love to hear your feedback. And in the meantime, until the next one, I hope you have a lovely scrappy time. Take care, everyone. Bye.